Movie title: Alone in the Dark. The story of the film revolves around a young man named Mark, who lives alone in his old house located in a quiet suburb. Mark is a confused person who is afraid of being alone at home because of a past experience that left deep psychological effects on him. He suffers from disturbing nights filled with nightmares and hallucinations, which increase his phobia and fear. The terrifying events begin when Mark finds himself home alone on a stormy night. The horror begins with strange noises and abnormally moving objects in the house. Mark's state of panic increases with every passing minute as he becomes certain that a supernatural force is directly targeting him. The horror escalates when Mark begins to see a mysterious figure appear and disappear into the darkness. Mark becomes convinced that this person is an evil spirit residing in the house, and that it wishes to take revenge on him because of his mysterious past. Mark decides to face his fears and uncover the truth behind the terrifying events occurring at the house. He begins searching for information about the history of the house and the people who lived there in the past. He discovers dark and horrific secrets regarding his home, and how it has been the scene of sinister events in the past. As events progress, Mark delves deeper into mystery and horror, as he discovers that the house is full of evil spirits lurking around him. Mark struggles to survive and try to escape from his haunted house. The ending reaches a terrifying climax as Mark finds himself trapped in a dark room, surrounded by evil ghosts. He begins screaming and begging to be saved, and is suddenly freed from their horrific grip when a mysterious incident causes a power outage in the house. When the power returns, Mark finds himself alone in the house, but this time without any ghosts or terrifying phenomena. He feels relieved for a moment, but soon discovers that he is not alone at all. He hears mysterious voices approaching him and feels the presence of someone watching him from the dark. A shaky voice in Mark's ear says, "You're never alone, Mark. I'm here, always watching over you." Mark explodes in panic and terror and begins running in every direction in the house, trying to escape from the terrifying entity that is chasing him. He ends up in a dark basement, where he finds himself trapped in a strange-looking net. He feels suffocated and unable to breathe, and his state of panic escalates. In a moment of despair, he is surprised by a bright light shining from behind him, and he is suddenly freed from the terrifying net. Mark rushes outside, turning to the house that witnessed all this horror. He sees distorted faces peering at him from windows and doors, and frightening screams ring out in the air. The sky is torn apart, and a mysterious supernatural force appears surrounding him. In his final moment of panic, Mark prepares for the final showdown. He finds courage within himself and decides that he will no longer be a victim. He says out loud, "I'm not afraid of you anymore. Disappear." In a glance, the terrifying spirits and evil entities disappear. Calm returns to the place, and Mark finds himself alone again in the house, but this time without any traces of the previous horror. He realizes that he has overcome his fear and gotten his life back. The story ends with Mark closing the door and breathing hard. He realizes that despite all the fears and challenges he has been through, he can stay alone at home with confidence and courage.